Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janda Ballabha Girivaradhari. Can I have a cartel in the front? Gopi Janda Ballabha Girivaradhari. Dashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Dashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janda Ballabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janda Ballabha Girivaradhari Shodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Junatira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. We're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapter number 12. Today's verses will be 14 and 15 because 14 doesn't have a purport. So I'll read it. 14. Since everything is dependent on the supreme will of the personality of Godhead, one should be equipoised in fame and defamation, victory and defeat, life and death. In their effects, represented as happiness and distress, one should maintain oneself in equilibrium without anxiety. Please repeat. Since everything is dependent on the supreme will of the personality of Godhead, one should be equipoised in fame and defamation, victory and defeat, life and death. In their effects, represented as happiness and distress, one should maintain oneself in equilibrium without anxiety. Text 15. Sattvam rajastama iti prakritir natmano guna tatra sakshinam atmanam yoveda sa nabhadyate yoveda na sabadhyate Sattvam rajastama iti prakritir natmano guna tatra sakshinam atmanam yoveda na sabadhyate yoveda sa nabhadyate. Sattvam rajastama iti prakritir natmano guna tatra sakshinam atmanam yoveda sa nabhadyate. Sattvam rajastama iti prakritir natmano guna tatra sakshinam atmanam yoveda nas. Vaishnavis. Sattvam rajastama iti prakritir natmano guna tatra sakshinam atmanam yoveda sa nabhadyate. Or ek. Unamas. Sattvam rajastama iti prakritir natmano guna Tatra Sakshinam Atmanam Yo Veda Sanapadyate Sattvam, the mode of goodness. Raja, the mode of passion. Tama, the mode of ignorance. Iti, thus. Prakrite, of the material nature. Na, not. Atmana, of the spirit soul. Guna, the qualities. Tatra, in such a position. Sakshinam, an observer. Atmanam, the self. Ya, anyone who. Veda, knows. Sa, he. Na, not. Badyate, is bound. Translation: one who knows that the three qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are not qualities of the soul, but qualities of material nature, and who knows that the pure soul is simply an observer of the actions and reactions of these qualities, should be understood to be a liberated person. He is not bound by these qualities. Please repeat. One who knows that the three qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are not qualities of the soul, but qualities of material nature, and who knows that the pure soul is simply an observer of the actions and reactions of these qualities. Should be understood to be a liberated person. He is not bound by these qualities. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. As the Lord explains in Bhagavad Gita 18:54, Pramabhuta prasannatma nashochiti nakangshiti samak sarveshu bhuteshu matbhaktim labhate param. One who is transcendentally situated at once realizes the supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. When one attains self-realization, the Brahmabhuta stage, one knows that whatever happens during his life is due to the contamination of the modes of material nature. The living being, the pure soul, has nothing to do with these modes. The living being, the pure soul, has nothing to do with these modes. In the midst of the hurricane of the material world, everything changes very quickly, but if one remains silent and simply observes the actions and reactions of the hurricane, he is understood to be liberated. The real qualification of the liberated soul is that he remains Krishna conscious, undisturbed by the actions and reactions of the material energy. Such a liberated person is always jubilant. He never laments or aspires for anything. Since everything is supplied by the Supreme Lord, the living entity, being fully dependent on him, should not protest or accept anything in terms of his personal sense gratification. Rather, he should receive everything as the mercy of the Lord and remain steady in all circumstances. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunviditam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katahmayam Dadati Swapajantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam tam sajivam sadvaitam sadvatutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Go Premanande Haribo. Saffam Rajastamaiti Prakritirnatmano Guna Tatra Sakshinam Atmanam Yo Veda Sa Nabhatyate. One who knows that the three qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are not qualities of the soul, but qualities of material nature, and who knows that the pure soul is simply an observer of the actions and reactions of these qualities, should be understood to be a liberated person. He is not bound by these qualities. And since the verse before was so enticing, we'll read it again. At least I will. Since everything is dependent on the supreme will of the personality of Godhead, one should be equipoised in fame and defamation, victory and defeat, life and death. I like that list because the last items are a little bit abrupt. And I could slightly accommodate being equipoised in fame and defamation. Get my mind around that. Victory, defeat, okay, I can get over it. Life and death, it doesn't seem like it's in the same category, but this is part of the way in which being equipoised is described. It includes everything. It's all encompassing, this process of seeing oneself different from the changing material nature, the body, and so forth. In their effects, represented as happiness and distress, one should maintain oneself in equilibrium without anxiety. And also, interestingly, that the effects of these movements around us are represented as happiness and distress. Representations, not actual. So, Srila Prabhupada begins his purport with this foundational verse, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Nashochati Nakankshati Samak Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labate Param. This is a very practical verse because it describes the way in which one can extricate oneself from the problem, which is the ever-changing material nature. We don't like it because we don't change, and we don't think other things should change also. Is there enough air here? Can a window be open more than there is? Air is a good thing. Living entities like it. And that is, from this verse, if one continues to perform devotional service, the implication of this verse is that one goes on performing devotional service despite whatever else is going on. And there will be many other things going on. It's inevitable that through the various periods of our life, we'll have to face various changes, the way we interact with society. Sometimes we'll have money, sometimes we won't. Sometimes people like us, sometimes they don't. Sometimes we'll be healthy and sometimes we'll be ill. Nonetheless, if one goes on performing devotional service in all circumstances, then one rises above the material nature. There's a very potent realization that one gets as one's performing devotional service, despite the fact that one's being assaulted by the senses and by other living entities, by the world, it seems, itself. And that's mentioned in the Sri Upanishad. Vidyam chayas tadvedo bayam saha avidyayam ratum tirtva vidyayam ratum ashnute. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. So there's a way in which we're juxtaposed against the material nature, but there's a kind of potent realization that arises when one's made the determination to hold on to devotional service, which means holding on to Krishna, even as one's moving through various distressful situations in this world. Does that sound familiar, just the part about distressful situations? Okay. So, Brahma Bhuta Pasanatma. First of all, the purport, Prabhupada establishes that the symptom of one who's able to do this is that he or she becomes joyful. And then he explains how one would do this. And it seems altogether simple, because he says that one knows that whatever happens during his lifetime is due to the contamination of the modes of material nature, and that I have nothing to do with the modes at all. The Vedas say, asango khyayam purushaha. Startlingly, this statement comes in the Vedas saying that living entity, you have nothing to do with this material world. You're not a part of it, and you ultimately don't have any responsibility here. Although there's a way in which I am born into the world, says Srimad Bhagavatam, and immediately I'm a debtor. Devarshi bhutatma nrinam pitrinam nakinkaro nayam nrni charajan sarvatmaraya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihrittakartam. Srimad Bhagavatam says, as soon as you're born into the world, you owe everybody. And you have to start working hard to pay back your debts. But if you take shelter of Krishna fully, then no longer do you have to pay these debts. You're absolved of the debts. So in one sense, I'm voluntarily taking on this debt on my head. And the option is given here that simply understand your real position in relationship to Krishna and give yourself to him. So for this, sambandha gyan, or regular instruction, hearing regular instruction about my relationship with Krishna, is vitally important. There are many. For instance, in the Brahma Samhita, it is said, sanitya nitya sambandha prakritischa paraivasa. Every living entity has an eternal kinship with the Lord. It's intimately related with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what is our relationship? That's also important. And also, it's a great relief to know. For instance, the first verse of the Sri Upanishad solves all problems. Nobody knows this, but it does. Isavasamidam sarvam yat kinchad jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunjita magridha kasasudhanam. Everything animate or inanimate within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for oneself, which are set aside as one's quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So this verse establishes our relationship with Krishna, at first it may seem a little bit unfair. To my mind that's attached to matter and the idea that I own and control matter, the idea that I don't own anything seems blatantly unfair, doesn't it? And tena tyak tena, whatever's set aside for me, then you can accept that. However, if one analyzes one's existential situation and sees that I'm piled under a mountain of debt, and even after I die, there's more debt that's piled up waiting for me in the next life, and it goes on forever and ever. One might analyze this and then think, is there a way out? And of course, Krishna is offering these loopholes throughout the Shastra. Bhagavad Gita, he ends with Sarvadhanaman Parityaja. If you just surrender to me, then I'll deliver you from all sinful reaction. But beyond that, there's a very comforting understanding about us being maintained by the Lord. He's benevolent. He's always taking care of us. Every living entity, Sri Upanishad again says, Sapari gachchukram akayam avranam ashnaviram shuram apapavidam kaviramanishi paribu swayambur yatat yatyato tan vyaradash shasvatibhya samabhyaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is transcendental. He's not a material personality. And he has the wherewithal to maintain all living entities, and he is. He's fulfilling the desire of every living entity since time immemorial. And we are the recipients of everything that he gives us. And what is our relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead? This is also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Just for completeness, so we understand, Krishna tells Brahma, Aham evasam agre nanyat yat sarasat param pascharaham yadetascha yovishisheta sosmyaham. And so he's in this section, the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, establishing his position. Now, before I mention that verse, I can mention in this section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where we come to know that we have a personal relationship with Krishna. We've understood that Brahma, when he's first born, is confused about his origin. In fact, that's this first question that he asks when he comes out into darkness on the lotus born from the navel pit of Mahavishnu. And he starts to inquire about, where do I come from? What's my origin? And then he gets some instruction to perform tapasya. And then he meets the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then what happens when he meets him? That shows that he's a person. He shook his hand. Krishna shook his hand. He said, Bhadram te. He said, good luck, Brahma. Is very friendly and compassionate and very personal that he shakes his hand. And then he explains, aham evasam eva agre. So this word aham, this is mentioned in the Bhagavat Sandarbha, that the aham means the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it doesn't mean anybody else. Because there are various forms of speech. We say I, and you, and she and he. So one is in the first person. And then there's the second person, which is you. So that indicates two people. And then if I say he and she, what does that indicate? There's at least three, because two people are discussing somebody else, right? So now Jiva Goswami says that the only one who can actually say aham, I, is Krishna, because this verse establishes aham evasam eva agre, that in the beginning only I exist, and after everything's annihilated, I only exist as well. And this means that he exists with all his energies as well, because, as Jiva Goswami points out, the king doesn't exist alone. He's with all of his associates and energies and so forth. So he goes on to say that Krishna can say aham because he's the complete whole, whereas we are relative to the complete whole because we're parts of the complete whole. He's the maintainer and we're the maintained. So he's the aham. And when I try to assume the position of aham, then the Vedas say, give this term ahankar, which means this sense of I'm the one, I'm the I. But actually, we only borrow that phrase. The real designation of I, aham, and also mam is the same as aham, is Krishna. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. He's saying mam, I. If I say that in a sentence, people are sitting there thinking, who is this puffed up person? But Krishna can say it because it's true about him. He is the original whole. He is the one. But my position is relative to his. And therefore, it's natural to accept that I'm the eternal servitor. And in his commentaries on this verse, Prabhupada, Aham Sarvasya Prabhupada invokes Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Bahunam Yoviditati Kaman. You can see for yourself that you're being maintained. Your intelligence is coming from someone, your very life is coming, and everything else is being supplied by the Supreme Lord. So the point is, if one becomes solidly convinced by Sambandha Gyan that one is the eternal servant of Krishna, and take shelter of Krishna completely, understanding that he's the benevolent maintainer of everyone, then one will have the wherewithal to maintain equilibrium despite the changes of the material world, understanding that Krishna will save me. This is the mood in Vrindavan. When the forest fire comes, the devotees simply call on Krishna and ask him, please save me. So we can do that too. And it's altogether effective if someone simply adopts this simple principle that Krishna is the maintainer, I'm the maintained, and Krishna is the only one who can save me, and then surrenders to Krishna with that mood. And here Prabhupada talks about the hurricane of material life. If one then simply maintains oneself as the witness, the sakshi, you witness what's going on, but you don't become involved in it. And this is importantly mentioned in the first canto when Parikshit Maharaj is speaking to Dharma, the bull, and asking him, how did you get beat up like this? Who did this to you? But Dharma wouldn't say. And here Prabhupada says that despite the various anomalies in this material world, one should remain silent. So this is what silence means. When the bull is asked, who did this to you? He doesn't say anything. So nobody can say. He says so many philosophers say this, they say that, but ultimately, and he wouldn't even name Krishna as the supreme cause. He remains silent on that one. And that's what it means. Don't blame anybody. Also, don't protest. And if one is able to develop this, in the Gita, Krishna says, Yam hina vyatayante te purusham purusharshapha samaduka sukham dhiram somritatvaya kalpate. If you are able to remain sama, despite the fact that there are unlimited changes going on in your life, then you're eligible for liberation. That's the prerequisite. You have to complete that box on your application form for liberation. And he says it throughout the Bhagavad Gita when he's describing the consciousness of a liberated person. Dukeshu anuvigna manaha, sukeshu vigita spriha, vitaraga baya kroda, stita dirmunir uchate. A person who's fixed in consciousness is one who doesn't protest and remains silent despite the fact that there's happiness and distress in the material world. Both things he considers unrelated to his real situation, which is as a servant of Krishna. Those are a few thoughts, and we now have some time for discussion. So that means if you could start with some reflections, anything that you heard that stuck so far that we can maybe elaborate on. Yes, Bhaktivinoda Prabhu.
Everybody a little bit, and you're saying that we should, and this verse is dedicated to us.
You got to hold that right in front of your mouth,
Okay,
otherwise.
and the verse is dedicated to us being the witness. So we all know the story that at the time of Sri Krishna descending to the earth, he looked at all of his boys and said, you should descend also. And referring this to being equipoised in birth and death, wait a minute, I'm with Krishna and he wants me to take birth again, and we have to be equipoised in that. And not only that, but just being the witness means not so much taking a part in it, but if he requests us, like in this case, to take part in it by becoming the Yadavas and all of the associates of Krishna in his Leela, that means then we need to get a couple of more instructions, because right now, if Krishna says, okay, we're going to do this again over in this universe, and that means we have to go with Krishna right now, I'd have to scratch my head because I don't know how to exactly descend with Krishna. He'll have to show me how to do it.
You may be thinking too far ahead.
No. I'm in my fourth quarter of this game.
I know, this is my point.
So therefore, I need to know because the game is about to end.
Right.
And if he
so
touches
let me
on the
answer
shoulder
because there's
and
not that much time. I understand the essence of your question.
Okay,
So you might consider that you've already been called here. Narottam Das Thakur in his song Gauranga Dutipada and Srila Prabhupada's subsequent commentaries indicates that those who are engaged fully in the Sankirtan movement are liberated souls. They're people who have been collected together. It's not haphazard, but Krishna has a plan. So the fact that you were born a few minutes after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, that you came into the Sankirtan movement and gave your entire youth and middle age, and now, of course, 60 is the youth of old age. I don't know how old you are now. that you gave everything to Krishna. Iha yasya harer dasya karmana manasa gira. There's indication that you are a liberated soul. And even further, the great acharyas like Narottam Das Thakur consider you already to be an associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you've already been called here, and you responded, and here you are, performing devotional service. So go on in the fourth quarter. And obviously you didn't mind in this lifetime. Why would you mind in another? I know. That's what I'm saying. So your question is kind of rhetorical. Other reflections? Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You were talking about the verse and how there shouldn't be a protest, and one should be sort of equipoised. And what came to my mind was that Mahaprabhu protested against the Chandkazi. And I'm just wondering if you could maybe help us understand the difference between what's in this verse and what Mahaprabhu did in terms of the protest he did.
Yeah, in one sense, this verse is describing self-realization. And then beyond self-realization, there's the full engagement in devotional service to the Lord, which includes spiritual emotions. Of course, if you look at a number line, you'll find negative numbers moving up to 0. And then into the positive. So self-realization is something that is definitely laudable, but when you come into the realm of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Naishkarmyam apyachuta bhava varjitam nashobate jnanam alam niranjanam kutakpuna shashvada bhadram ishvare nacharpitam karma yadap yakaranam. And Narada Muni says, okay, you've got self-realization, but it really doesn't look that great. Nashobate jnanam, it's not that beautiful, it's not that attractive unless you have achuta bhava. And in achuta bhava, the devotees have spiritual emotions through which they have actually what they're called spiritual ambitions. And within those, there's one may protest against those who are checking the Sankirtan movement. One may develop an intense compassion that compels one to go out into the world and perform all kinds of austerities that one doesn't even notice because he or she is engaged in something much deeper within their heart. So it's a different level of emotional expression. It's a spiritual expression, which is different from protesting against the inconvenience caused to me by material nature. So it's two different levels. Yes.
Krishna. These days I hear a lot of people speak about self-care and self-respect, and you should allow yourself to express whatever needs to be expressed.
Your truth.
What's that? Your truth.
Express your truth.
And sometimes it seems hard to reconcile that with this perspective. At least I find it's difficult to explain to people because it's not maybe doesn't align with that popular way of thinking. And I'm wondering whether is there some validity to that type of thinking, or is this idea that somehow have to have self-care, self-preservation, just a lack of faith that there is Krishna, there is a supreme protector?
The lack of faith part I didn't understand.
That if a person doesn't believe that there is some supreme protector, then the primary thing is I have to have an attitude of self-care because who else will look after me but myself?
Well, Shukadeva Goswami is a little blunt about this. I'm not saying we should be blunt, but he's a little blunt. He says at the outset of the Srimad Bhagavatam, what's the verse about fallible soldiers? Huh? In any case, Shukadeva Goswami is mentioning that they're fallible soldiers that one takes shelter of in the material world, thinking these will save me. And he said they won't. And ultimately, I've seen, like, if you're with people when they're leaving the world, sometimes you'll notice that they're the way that they're connected to these various entities who will save them, it starts to drift away. They're like lines getting cut. I was with my mother. She was an intellectual. She was a professor. She a sociologist. She believed in people, and not so much in the Supreme. Until later on in her life, she was in her 90s when she passed away, and I was with her. And I saw that it was mental constructs that she had created that protected her. She had one professor she really believed in, and his teachings and so forth. That went away. She believed in her relationship with her husband, my father. He died. There were numerous. I could actually watch as if there were ropes just being cut, and then she was a different person. She was a soul. Interacting with this uncertainness of the material world. And in that sense, that kind of self-care then no longer becomes relevant. Those who are fortunate have that sense early on that there's a supreme to take shelter of. It requires some sukriti, in order to have that. Krishna mentions in the Gita, Chaturvida bhajanti mam, jana sukritino arjuna, arto jignasa artarti, etc. So this verse says that, pious people in all kinds of adverse situations in the material world, they lose their money, they're in distress and so forth, they take shelter of Krishna, so there has to be some sukriti there. So to such people, I was noticing yesterday at the book booth, some people would come over and they weren't really interested. So I didn't, all I did was just try to be really friendly with them. And several of them came back later. I knew they weren't interested. They'd sort of wandered in, but I was just, I didn't try to present anything. I just tried to be like a good friend. And I noticed when they went away and they came back later and go, okay, what's this about? How come you didn't ask me for anything? It's like, so with people like that, who don't have that kind of sukriti that makes them already naturally inquire and say, okay, what's the supreme and things like that, giving them care can make them attached to you and then make them inquire further. There's a lot more to be said about that because it's in the realm of cutting edge, working in the world and trying to connect people in a nonviolent way that uplifts them and brings them closer and things like that. It's a whole topic. Maharaj. Dehapatra kalatradishu. Yes, thank you.
You quoted the verse Devarshi Bhutat Inam Prinam. What is, it says we have no debt, but how does that practically apply? For example, we have parents, they're not devotees. What is our debt? I mean, you had some interaction with your parents. Keshava Bharti Maharaj felt he had some. So what does it actually mean we have no debt or no, don't we have dharma in relationship with parents and things like that?
Well, if one doesn't have a vested interest in the material world, then one's relationship with the world is different. If I don't have a vested interest, for instance, let's just say as an example, if my family was wealthy and I really cared about what they put in the will, specifically me, I would have kind of an obligation. I have an obligation to deal with them in a certain way because of my vested interest in the material world. But once my vested interest is gone, because I've transferred that to Mukunda, I say he's maintaining me, nobody else is maintaining me. Then, although externally I may deal with people in an obligatory way or even a compassionate way, internally it's different. Because I don't expect anything, and people feel that. Living entities are very sensitive. They know when you don't want anything from them. And so although you're performing the same duties, it's a different relationship altogether. So that's how Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita that one lives in the world, but it isn't touched by it at all. It's an internal matter. Once my vested interest in material, I don't want anything here. I don't want anything from anybody. I don't need anything from everybody. I'm getting it all from Krishna. I have that complete support. And therefore, my interactions with the material world, I can take it or leave it. I don't actually need anybody on that level. So then the relationship changes, and then one may have the choice to do it or not do it. For instance, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would let some of his disciples go and take care of family matters, and others he would grant them, okay, you don't have to go. One of the brahmacharis hid in a basket or something like that because he didn't want to go deal with a family matter. And Srila was, okay, that's fine too. On the grounds that it was socially, it would have been devastating socially if certain people didn't go back, and that would have maybe caused difficulty for the mutt or for that particular devotee. They would go back, but not on the basis that you actually owe anything. And this Rupa Goswami goes into in detail in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu about how devotees don't owe anybody, and no more karma kanda. And Krishna says it in the Bhagavatam, Tasmat Tavat karma na kuravita nan nirvidyeta karma matkata shravanadova shadayavan jayate. That until one's in one's heart that the relationship with Krishna is awakened, especially through the process of hearing and chanting, one has complete faith in that, then one will be obligated to the material world. But once that's complete, then no more obligation. Was that okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have to go. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Jagannath Rathayatra ki jai, Shri Purushottam Mas ki jai, Shri Dwadasi ki jai, Gaur Premanande Haribo.
Hari Purusha
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Sharanapama Kevala Bhakti Sadma Shingara Sharanapama Kevala Bhakti Sadma Bandoi Mui Savadana Mate Jahara Prasade Bai Bhavatoriya Ja Jahara Prasade Mai Bhavatoriya Ja Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hate Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hate Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Chitete Yarna Goriya Mane Asha Yarna Koriyo Mane Asha Shri Guru Sharane Rati Ese Uttama Gati
Sharane Rate Ese Utamangate Je prasadem vare sarva asha Je prasade vare sarva asha Chakudana dilo je jame jame Prabhu se Divya gnana hriday prakashito Prema bhakti jai hoite avidya vinasha jate Vede gai jahara charito Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Andamajanara Bandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamajanara Bandhu Lokana Lokera Jivana Srila Prabhupada Lokera Jivana Ha Prabhu Kara Daya De Amore Padachaya 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 Ibe Dasa Gusu Jibhavana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Vishnu Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prashanine Nirvishesha Shunyamvadi Vastatcha Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,